Conventional wisdom is it's like a shadow on the wall of what's actually happening in a baseball game. What the heck was that? Knee down catching is lazy. That's the most common argument I hear from coaches who are opposed to catchers working on their knee. To the coaches that say knee down catching is lazy, I would say not being willing to educate yourself is equally as lazy. This is my argument for knee down catching and how I believe we got to knee down catching in the game today. Let's say you like working off 2 feet, work off 2 feet. Let's say you like working off your right knee and you can block, you can throw. Keep going, get better at it. The receiving aspect of knee down catching is not very hard to, or it's hard to argue with. It's very logical that catchers can receive better from a knee. However, the prevailing argument is blocking and range. It's a solid argument. A catcher doesn't block as well from a knee. Now, here is Pudge Rodriguez. He has 13 Gold Gloves, and he's caught in 2,000 plus Major League Baseball games. That's 2,000 more than I'll ever catch in. However, how did we get from his defensive mastery to a completely different style? Why don't catchers today emulate him? I'd like to start here. So again, this is Pudge Rodriguez, Gold Glove catcher, incredible. Top of the mountain. Blocking a changeup. Tough pitch to block. All right, we'll stop it right here. He's in your most traditional secondary stance. Perfect. Feet outside of his shoulders, butt parallel to the ground. He's balanced. This is what this is probably what would be taught by conventional standards. This is the most conventional secondary stance. They got runners on base. He's obviously checking on the runner right now at first. He's in the stretch. We got runners on base. This is conventional. This is how you teach it, old school. But here's the thing. Upon release, Pudge Rodriguez gets into this stance. This is actually the stance he's catching out of. I can't think of any conventional old school coach that would say, yeah, cave your left knee in, and it's not as conventional as you would think. Almost any catcher that works off of 2 feet, if their feet are outside of their shoulders, then almost positively they favor one side like this. And their knee ends up on the ground anyway. But I'm going to roll through this again. He knocks down this tough changeup, beautiful. But if you were to pause it at impact, this is where he's at when the ball hits him. This is pretty far from conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom would say, hold your thumb, get it behind your glove, be on 2 knees, hips back, rounded back, whatever it is. That's what conventional wisdom would say. In a game, that's not exactly what would happen. If you look, he's late getting this left knee to the ground. He's on his right knee only, and the ball hits him in his glove, and his glove's off the ground. In almost any case, if there's a changeup that is going to hit the ground and skip, or like a sharp slider that has, this sharp break, if you pause it when the ball first hits the catcher who blocks it, it almost always hits the glove first. Seriously. Sharp slider, changeup, or a guy, buries a fastball, unless it's a 12-6 where it's got a lot of north to south break, if it's gonna almost always hit the glove. And if you pause it, the catcher's almost always in a position like this where one knee hasn't made it to the ground yet. So essentially, we catch better off a knee, and that's kind of the stance we block out of anyways. Here's the argument against knee down catching. You have no range. Catchers on a knee have no range. Catchers on a knee have no range. In this instance, you would be absolutely correct if that's your argument. This is Joey Bart, and he absolutely gets locked up trying to cover up a slider. Okay, so if you were to watch this and say he had no range to his right, you'd be correct. Again, watch his right knee as he goes to push and block, he's got nothing there and he's stuck. So let's see. So if you were to watch that and say catchers have no range on a knee, in this instance you'd be correct. However, if you were to watch this video, you would be completely disproven. He obviously has plenty of range to his right. He's able to slide his knee easily. So what I'm saying is, if you were to watch one video and say, catchers have no range on their knee, in that instance, you may be correct. In this instance, you may be dead wrong. There is a way to have range on your knee. In my experience, with most players, working off their right knee specifically, the things that allow them to have more range is the way they set up their hips. So if this is their right hip and this is their left hip, some guys, if they're square, they have no push. Other guys, if they just offset, then they can swing around the ball no problem. For some guys, if they bear more weight into their left foot, that makes it easier for them to go. For some guys, if they get their toe in the ground with their right foot, and they get their foot in the ground with their left foot, and they have good rhythm, they can block no problem. Where they set up, like let's say this is the outside corner and you're calling to a righty, outside corner, and you're calling a sweeping right-handed breaking ball, some guys will set up right here and then get beat. Of course they got beat. Other guys will call it, and then as the pitcher goes to deliver, they go ahead and shade this way, and they have no problem. There's a lot of different ways where catchers are able to successfully catch off their right knee, whereas others are not. There are different setups even on a knee. So not every right knee down stance is the same. For example, this is Hedges, incredible catcher. In this video, I took this from, the pitcher's throwing a sharp slider, and it's a 2-strike count. So essentially, this is like a put away pitch. And if you look at his stance, he is set up a little bit taller. He's not sunken all the way down. His chest is forward. In comparison to this picture of Ryan Jeffers with the Twins, if you look at his stance, his hips are almost all the way to the ground. He's completely sunken down. This is likely a fastball or a changeup with nobody on base, something he's expecting to break low and away to that corner, and he is completely catch first. Whereas Hedges here, men on base, put away slider, he's set up taller, block first. There's more than one way to set up, even from a knee. I see videos often where it'll be 2 or 3 clips in a row where catchers are on a knee and the ball slips away from them, and it's meant to prove like knee down catching it doesn't work. You don't have to look far to find video of the ball getting past any catcher in any stance. It doesn't matter what stance a catcher's in or who's behind the plate. There will always be some crazy pitches and mistakes. Always. If there's human beings involved, there will be mistakes. So, to the coaches that say knee down catching is lazy, I would say not being willing to educate yourself is equally as lazy. That's my argument. For the catchers who are playing around with different stances, try them, find what works for you, and if someone says you can't or shouldn't do this, I bet if you play around with it, you can. Let's say you like working off 2 feet, work off 2 feet. Let's say you like working off your right knee and you can block, you can throw. Keep going, get better at it. Anyways, this is my argument for knee down catching with practice done properly. Enjoy your time at the ballpark.